Hi, welcome to the fifth episode of the Empathy Explorers podcast. I wanted to do something special for the fifth episode, so I invited you guys to leave me some questions and I'll answer them in this episode. So you can see it as kind of a Q&A. And to add a bit of extra spice to it, I asked Tom Ross and Michael Janda for some extra questions. And they actually handed me a bunch of questions, so I'll be answering those as well. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into the questions. So actually, I arranged the questions a bit so they fit in certain categories. I got a bunch of UX questions, but also more goal and dream related questions. So I fitted them together so it fits nicely into the episode. The first question from Michael Janda at More Janda is, where are you based? I'm currently based in the Netherlands. I live in a small town called Geertruidenberg. It's close to Breda, actually, and the agency that I work for is located in Breda. So that's where I go to every workday. And I do some things on the side for myself, and I do that from home. So the next question is also from Michael Janda at More Janda. What is your education background? Well, I actually studied IT and media design at in Eindhoven, and it's a bachelor study. I did that for 5 years, and at my last internship where I had to do a thesis, I was able to get a job there, and I'm currently still working there. So yeah, that's about it. We get a bit more into the user experience related questions. Also, this one is again from at More Agenda. We'll come to the other ones later on. Why did you choose UX? That was actually not really a term that was used when I was studying. It was more called like web designer or graphic designer. And I wanted to pick I wanted to do more with the internet, so I picked web designer. And yeah, that kind of evolved into lessons in user experience. And that's one, yeah, that really clicked with me because we had to research for different projects and actually change the outcome of your product with the research that you did. So, and I did that for my thesis as well. And that's when I saw like I want to do more with that actually. And currently I'm a UX designer. So that kind of worked out. And a follow-up question is, what has been your biggest challenge getting started? Well, to be honest, like the study is really broad and you get to learn a lot of things. I get to learn a little bit about photography, drawing, storytelling, but you don't really get to know what an actual UX designer, or in that case web designer, needs to do when he's part of a team and when he's part of a bigger thing like an agency. One of the biggest problems that I faced at the start of my career was the restrictions that you had with projects. You had to like figure out how to still make something creative and work around with all the requirements, deadlines, planning difficulties, and as such. And that was quite of a struggle in the start, but luckily I had a great team around me that helped me with that. And actually now I'm more part of the planning stuff, so that's really helpful, and that helps me keep organized because actually when I did my study I was not organized. I didn't have a journal, or I never wrote down dates of tests, and I always did that from my head. But as you probably figure out, that doesn't work all the time. I missed a lot of things actually because of that. And when you work for an agency, that's not possible. Then you'll definitely get some callbacks from that. So that's when I started to actually get more structured. And to be honest, that was quite difficult at the start, but I feel it's kind of a relief right now, and it only gets you stronger in the end. So then from at Lukla Prerak, how did you start your journey and did you face any problems? This is kind of related to the UX career, but I'll also mention why I started my Instagram. At the UX start, the restrictions from project was quite difficult, and I did not really have a good base knowledge of all the things that you had to use for UX and graphic design. So that was quite hard. I thought I was there until you get a job at an agency, and then you know you're far behind what actually is required. So you have to step it up really rapidly, otherwise you'll don't have a chance to stay there. So, and for the Instagram, I had a lot of trouble at the start. I made a lot of mistakes. My first podcast was quite uh, badly recorded actually, and I had a lot of problems exporting it. I had a lot of problems with video on Instagram. I didn't know like all the requirements for the screen sizes and how it cuts your IGTV video in a different format. So that was quite of a struggle. I had to delete some of the posts actually that just didn't work out. I tried out Creator Studio, which is, for me, it looks like it's still in beta somehow. They get a lot of things wrong. I feel like I wasn't able to combine video with images in a carousel, and sometimes it had problems with retrieving the data from the posts. So all those things were like problems, and at that time they look really big and like, oh, I cannot make a podcast, I cannot make a video, and that is really a struggle, especially if you set out like countdowns for your posts, and then at the end of the countdown it goes wrong and you have to do it all over again and delete everything and such. So that was quite a struggle for the Instagram part, but I think if you just try it out once, twice, three times, then you get comfortable with the problems you face then, and it only gets easier from there. So I hope that answers your question. From yes, Julia Pereira. You wake up, you get to work, and you realize that one morning you landed on a UX job with absolutely no UX knowledge. What would help you get through the day? Okay, so that's quite of an interesting situation. So you already landed the job. That means you're probably good at people skills. And I think that is one of the best things to learn quickly. If you want to learn more about UX, I would definitely recommend to keep your eyes open for what the team does. And if you're the first UX designer, you need to look a lot at what other UX designers do in the creative space. One thing that I would start with is actually, if you have zero knowledge, start with reading a few books. There are great ones from Don Norman, The Design of Everyday Things. You have a lot of books that work with the basics of UX, and then you can go from there. You can also look at quite a few blogs. Nielsen Norman Group is actually really helpful. It has like all the basics for you to start with the UX design, and they actually explain how to do research. They actually explain what everything means, how to make a prototype, how you can improve your heuristic research actually. And that helped me a lot with when I was in college. So that was really helpful. And if I have to recommend like one course, I would say there was one course that I did after I finished my degree and actually got a job. And that course actually taught me more than the 4 years that I spent on the degree. So if that doesn't say enough, um, it's the course from Joe Natoli. I think it's still on Skillshare. He had some trouble with the licensing, I think, but I think it's back on it right now. He has 2 courses, and I would definitely recommend you start with that. It takes quite a bit of time. It's I think around 6 or 7 hours, the first one, and the other one is maybe more, even 10 or 12 hours or something. But it's put into nice little chunks that you can listen to a couple each day, or maybe more if you feel like. Once I started, I wanted to finish it really quickly because it was super helpful for me. Take notes and just don't make assumptions about things you think you know. And we discussed that with Helena in the 3rd episode. Always keep asking questions. Don't think you already know the answer, because most of the time it's actually not that answer. Not for users, not for your clients. You can assume things they think it's true, but that can be totally different for someone else. So to make a big answer short, I would start with the course, reading up, ask questions for the team, ask questions about like what do you need to know for the job, because that also helps. And I think you have a great start then. The next one is from Ash Designs. His question is, so my question is about starting out as a designer. Personally, I'm trying to start out as a freelance before landing a job as a UX designer, or maybe before starting my own thing, mainly to get experience and exposure. But I've seen people do it the other way around, and it works really well for them. What are your thoughts on this? Do you maybe have something from your personal experience that could help? Well, actually, I did the other way around. And to be honest, I also talked with Doug about that in episode 4. Freelance is really hard, and you have to have a lot of knowledge about more things than just design. And that's why I think it's not for everyone, definitely not at the start. If you are still a junior UX designer, I would really recommend starting out at a company or an agency, because you can get the experience from the projects there. I cannot land the clients that we get with agency. Those projects are so big that you'll never be able to work on them as a freelancer, or you need to be like the best freelancer in the world, but they will never take just one freelancer for that job. I would definitely recommend just starting out with an entry job, or maybe even an internship, even if it is for free for 6 months. But when you get the experience from like the projects that you do there, that will help you so much in creating a portfolio for yourself, be confident about what you make, and actually learn so much from that time there. So I would actually recommend doing it the other way around. And if you feel like you want to start out as a freelancer, it is possible. You can get enormously big from that, but well, you need to know about sales, you need to know about marketing, you need to know about SEO, maybe coding even. If you don't have a lot of money, you need to do all those things by yourself before you can even start landing the clients. So yeah, what I would recommend is trying out, even if it's 6 months. I know you don't get paid then, or maybe you get paid a little, but it helps you so much in creating experience and confidence for yourself. The next one is from Yes Julia Pereira. What were your key learnings from this outrageous year so far? One work related and one otherwise. Well, this is a tough one. One work related, I would say that it brings you closer as a team, even when you're working from home, because you still have to do the projects that still continued on, and I felt like people were more caring about each other, more caring about how you were doing while working, and it actually changed a lot of people's perspective on working from home at our agency. So that's a good thing, I feel like. And actually, for moving on, I think that a lot of agencies, companies will provide better places to work from home, or even other remote office spaces and such. And I think that's a good thing. And for one, otherwise, I would say just be grateful for what you have and actually appreciate the time like these where everything is just a bit slower, a bit more calm down, and you actually get to relax more without having to go to a lot of responsibility things and such, and actually appreciate a bit more what you have around you. Most of the people I talked to actually enjoyed a lot more of their own country this year. We also traveled to through the Netherlands, and it was really fun actually to see the small places, other surroundings, and they are really close by. So that was really cool actually. The next question is from Tom Ross at Tom Ross Media. What lights you up about UX? And I've actually stated three things that really light me up about user experience. The first one is hearing about the ROI of the new products that we created. That's just a bit of an accomplishment to show the clients that you actually know what you're talking about and created something that actually benefits them more than they benefited you. So that's really, yeah, one of the key things that just lights me up. The other one is the smile on the client's faces when you show them the new product, the first design meeting that you have with them, and actually carrying them through the process of creating something new. And the last one is just creating clever solutions, research things and find new solutions for a certain brand or marketplace that can really benefit from things that they haven't thought about earlier. So yeah, those three things really light me up and yeah, make every project and client special. A follow-up question from Tom was, what are the key things someone considering a career in UX should know? I actually stated a few already. One of the first things that I said was restrictions and requirements. I think schools don't teach a lot of things that you actually need to think about when you're starting UX design, and one of the things is restrictions. You need to know what you're working with and how much time that you have, what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot research. Those things are not taught in school, where you just get a broad challenge and you can do whatever you want. Don't have to consider how much it costs, how much time it takes, and I think that's really important to know when you're starting out a career. Other one that I think is really helpful is actually design principles. That is one that I was taught by the other designer that works at our agency, and the course from Joe Natoli. I think that's really helpful. He has a course about design principles, and you really need to know things about white space, how fonts work, especially on web, but also on print if you're more into that. But yeah, design principles are really important. Another one I think is that I actually learned more throughout being at the agency, and that's the power of confidence. When you can tell if someone is confident in what they made, and clients can also see that if you are able to confidently state your meaning behind the things that you made. That's so much more powerful than actually making assumptions and just figuring out what they like. You need to be confident in what you are telling them, and then they'll trust you, and you'll be able to, yeah, gain a powerful relationship with them actually. And you also have to be ready to be wrong. You can't always know everything, so you need to be ready to make a mistake and also say that we thought that that was the best option, but it wasn't, and we need to change. Be able to make mistakes and actually turn them around into wins for them is the best thing you can show them, because you actually show them that you care about the product instead of just pushing around your own opinion. So another question from Tom: what are some random fun facts about you? Um, I actually can't whistle. I've tried, but I just can't. Uh, One other thing is I'm left-handed, but I need to do a lot of things with my right hand. Actually, like for dinner, a lot of left-handed people use their knife on the left hand and the fork on the right hand, but I do it like right-handed people, so that's quite a change. One other fun fact is that I still collect Pokemon cards. I started that when I was young. Luckily, I still have them around, and actually since people like Gary Vee actually promoted them as one of the best assets to trade, they're gone up in price so much. So that's really cool. And I actually bought a few packs from the later sets as well. So that's quite fun. Um, One other thing is that I like a ton of music. So if you are interested in music and want to show like a very cool artist or something, I'm always into that. Always love to learn more new genres and such. I like country, I like EDM, I like hard rock, I like hip hop culture. Actually, I have a ton of playlists. My girlfriend gets mad about them. So much different than what she listens to. So yeah. Sorry if I butcher your name, but the next question is from Benevolent B Ardo. Which SEO strategy works smoothly? I don't have a lot of experience in SEO. Um, what I know from back in the day does not work right now. I think you need to start a blog actually, and that's one of the most important things to improve even your website. But and also get a lot of backlinks from other sites, and you can do that with things like affiliate programs, or just putting out a ton of content on reviews, just content in your area of expertise. If I want to recommend something, you can also listen to some of the stuff that Jacob Cass actually does. And he has a lot of things about SEO. He has a blog that is really popular, and I think he earns about $10,000 a month on passive income from his blog. So that could be really helpful if you want to work out some SEO strategy for your website or blog. The next question is from UI by Lewis. What is your advice for people who are looking to become content creators? If you want to become a content creator, one of the first things you need to know is basic knowledge of the things you can create with. And even if you don't have a lot of design experience, things like Canva can actually help you with starting out to create content. one of the things I didn't do at the start was preparation. I think that preparation is key. If you're able to prepare your posts before you need to actually post them, that helps a lot. And you don't have to work every time to get that deadline. So that can be really helpful if you are able to prepare some stuff for the future. And that actually speeds up the process of creating a lot. One thing I recommend is the pillar content. Pillar content is necessary to stay alive in the social space. I think you need to find something that really fits you and your audience, and then build upon that. For me, I will try to make the podcast one of the pillar content pieces that I share, other than UX and branding related stuff. So find something that suits you and you're actually comfortable with sharing. And the last advice that I have is just post and try out new things. A lot of people stay stuck in what they actually have done for the last couple of months. If you're good at carousels, they're only posting carousels. If you're good at making pictures, they're only showing pictures. But you need to try out. One of the worst things that I see is like having a clean grid, because of you staying in one lane and not trying out new things. Just try new things and you'll see what happens with the engagement. I feel like if you change it up a bit from time to time, the engagement goes actually up instead of down. So I would recommend just to post and try out new things every once in a while. This one is from Lukla Prerak again. How do you feel as a content creator? To be honest, I have one word. I feel powerful. You have the power to create anything you want, and I'm actually in charge, and that's what makes it really fun and actually really empowering to share some value with others. So if I would say one word, I would say powerful. This one is from ux.effects. What is your advice for designing faster? That's actually quite a tough question, I feel like. If I would recommend some things, is just to try out new things, try out other things that you're not familiar with. One of the things that I see that people try is use plugins to make their process faster. But if you don't know the basics about a program, I feel like plugins only slow you down. So I would not recommend that, only if you're really experienced in a certain program. And that's the other thing. If you want to design faster, I think you need to really get expertise in a certain program. For instance, we use Adobe XD a lot. And to be honest, we are using it for since 2018, since the beta actually launched. And I feel like I got a pretty good understanding of how the program works, and I still don't use any plugins. So that's one of the things that I want to look into next year, to start using some plugins to even speed it up more. But that's just after using the program for almost 2.5 years. So what I would recommend, if you're more beginner like, I would really recommend learning shortcuts from the program. There are a lot of different shortcuts that can actually speed up your process a lot. And do things like structure your files. Make sure you design everything in a certain way. Plan out things. If you want to create something for your Instagram, instead of starting inside the program, try to sketch it out first. That may look like a lot of more steps to create it in the end, but what it really does is it actually gives you a little bit of a guideline, like the restriction that I said about the projects, that will actually help you design faster inside the program. So those are the things that I would recommend. If you're not really an expert at a certain program, then I would recommend to start out with those things. The next one is from Button du Jour. which F1 race would you watch live? I think some of you saw that I shared some stories about Formula One. I really enjoy it lately. It was a bit down from the days that Red Bull was king, like Vettel won all the championships and such. But since Verstappen came back, I'm watching every race and watching every qualifying, sometimes even the free practice, and I just really enjoyed it. And I started to race for myself as well. So I got a steering wheel and games like Project Cars 2, F1 2020. Just try it out. Um, One of the races that I really want to go to is Catalonia. Catalonia was quite a special place actually. It was the first race that Max Verstappen won. So that one has a special place in my heart. And actually, from early on, it is one of my favorite tracks to watch, to drive on myself, and just to experience. And it also is in Spain, so that's quite a relief if you want to go there. It's a pretty nice temperature, so I would go there, Catalonia. The next question is a follow-up question from Helena. What keeps you going? How do you determine your long-term goal without feeling you missed the mark? The biggest thing is actually not judge myself. I make goals, and to be honest, I'm gonna make a post on it. I started with some goals in the start of 2020, and I actually missed them all. At first, I felt guilty, but in the end, to see what I've actually accomplished is a lot greater than most of the people would even try. So don't judge yourself on what you didn't reach, and actually look at what you did achieve this year. And that, to be honest, keeps me motivated to just try out new things and know that I'm on the right path. So this one is also more related to the future, also from Morjana. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and how do you plan to get there? Yeah, that's a tough one. One of the things that I really want to do is actually make more business decisions with a UX perspective in mind. I feel like a lot of brands really need to up their game UX wise, and that could be really helpful for uh, media to senior UX designers to actually become more like a strategist for those companies. So that will be really a cool thing to look out to. And one other thing is I also want to build a strong personal brand for myself and to see where I can grow from there. And how do I plan to get there? I've got a couple of goals in mind, and I want to share that with the failed goals from last year. So I'll share that on Instagram. The last question is from @7xdesign. What is your biggest dream? I thought about this a lot, and one thing that keeps coming up is to do whatever I want every day of my life. I want to thank every single one of you for sending in the questions. It was really fun to answer them, and I hope you learned something from it. Um, I also announced a little giveaway that I wanted to do for people sending in the questions, so I'll actually do a random name picker live in the episode as well. I set the names here, and we're gonna see who is the winner of the giveaway. All the names are in. Pick a random name. Lukla Prerok is the winner, and he will get a DM from me. So Lukla, thank you for sending in a question, and I hope you buy something special with it. So that's where this episode will end. Thank you so much for listening to the show, and we'll see you next time.